So about the text I sent you.
That's how you're gonna start this?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let me hear about this goose story.
So I'm on my way here. I was actually on the way to get the energy drinks. But I was on my way to Vitamin Shop to get it, and all of a sudden I see a goose fly directly into a power line.
No shit.
And
Wait, are you serious?
I'm 100% serious.
I was about to say I didn't even know geese flew, but that's silly.
Oh yeah, they can like fly high.
Yeah,
up,
I'm sure.
But like for whatever reason, these two pair of geese decided to fly directly into a power line, and one of them hit it.
Oh,
And so it was like a F-18 bomber going down,
Yeah.
just you know.
right.
But it survived.
Oh, good.
I would have been traumatized.
I think I would have been too.
But I was driving by and it was on the opposite side of the road, and I was just like looking in my mirror. I was like, so I made a hard U-turn, helped out this goose, and it survived. So I'm like,
Did you give him mouth to mouth?
I mean, I wish.
Valid question. You know what I mean? If you had to do it, you had to do it.
But like, it was like still moving, still with it. So I had to like literally pick it up.
Oh, dude.
Pick it up. And it was like its legs were going like this.
Oh.
Like it was walking.
That's actually so cute.
It's one of the cutest things I've ever done.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like, dude, those things were heavier than I thought.
I believe it. I mean, those things are kind of like fucking meaty. You know what I mean? That's why I was like, I made that silly, like I said, remark. It's like, do they fly? They're fucking pretty big. They walk through my backyard constantly. Those things are nothing to fuck with, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll kick the shit out
But it was
of you.
like so like looking around, and it like flopped his little legs like while I picked it up.
Yeah.
But after like I put it down on the sidewalk, it was walking just fine.
Yeah.
And I was
Said your blessings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got into the vitamin shop, they were like, "Hey, dude,
We're out of power.
You're like, hey, yeah, we're out of power.
No shit.
we just ran out of power and we just got it back." And I was like,
I wonder why.
I know why.
Dude, I remember this was like probably like, what was it, 6 months ago. I've never been more scared in my life. I was in my kitchen, and legitimately the first ever time I had these big glass pane doors like that were around like my kitchen, like kitchen door, back kitchen wall. And a fucking bird smashed into my window. Luckily, it didn't break the window, but like it was such a loud thud, I legitimately thought my house was getting broken into. So I screamed very loud. My dog was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Who screamed first, you or your girlfriend?
It was 100% me. Yeah, absolutely. No, not her. You can't spook her. She is bricked up more than I am. You know what I mean? But I screamed so loud, dude. I literally went around my house, thought my shit was getting broken into. Like, I really thought there was an intruder. And then, no, there was just a fucking bird. It was just laying right next to the fucking door, basically, to, like, the side pane. Yeah. Never experienced that, ever. That was the scariest thing. So, but, yeah. But, all right, man. I appreciate you asking me to come up here, dude. This is cool. This setup is beautiful. I like what you got going on.
Oh, dude, like, so, like, literally the day before I went to the hospital, I toured this studio.
No shit.
The day before.
Wow.
Yeah, the day before I got a walkthrough, and then I went to Powerhouse.
Nice. And then that other thing, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As much as that sucked, like it gave me like, I guess the I don't give a fuck attitude.
Sure.
Of like, I'm gonna do this myself.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm gonna do this myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think at least for me, you know, it's just like when you have, I don't know, it's just not even like an external desire or like external motivation, although that helps. But it's like when you have desire and you want to do something, and then realistically, it's like, you know, you kind of get met with some obstacles and things like that. And, you know, we can talk about this if you want. It's just like there's nothing more pure and there's really nothing more genuine. And it's like the desire doesn't come from like a very toxic motivator, although like toxic motivators are very powerful. I think we can all agree with that. Like, we've all done some pretty cool things, probably toxically motivated, whether it's with our bodies or, you know, with business or with
bullying
whatever.
Works.
That too. I mean, listen, dude, like, I'm not gonna drop his name. There's this 8th grader I used to fucking hate, dude. He's still in the back of my brain, right? Regardless. But it's like, you know, coming in here, touring it, having a vision, being like, fuck yeah, I'm going to do this no matter what, and then just get banged up, right? And you're still back around, you're still doing this thing. It's fucking, that's huge. I think that's really cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to have like this, what do you call it?
Autism.
Still goes on. I'm not suffering. I just have it.
That's good. Yeah, we're happy.
But I used to have this like gripe with like the name Justin.
Really?
Because like when I was, in elementary school, I would get my shit rocked by a kid named Justin.
Mm-hmm.
In my like very first relationship, my girl at the time cheated on me with a guy named Justin.
No,
yeah.
I hate Justin for you.
And he was like not even he was like a bigger, taller dude.
Yeah.
But zero muscle.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a football player, but not
He's
wasn't
a fat
showed.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I'll kick your ass.
I won't.
I'll think about it.
but like that to get cheated on by like
Yeah.
a high calorie human.
Yeah. Yeah.
That hurt.
It's definitely, it can be a humbling fact. It can be, I mean, it's funny so like this is taking it back, Jesus, over 10 years ago. That's how I got back into as like a lot of dudes are driven by ego. You know what I mean? It's like, that's how I got back into the gym. I was like madly obsessed with this one girl. I was in love. I thought I was. And, next morning we were out one weekend. We were at like a music festival, right? We get home. I sleep all day. I wake up next morning. I go on my phone. I literally, from Instagram, found out that she got engaged, right? She got engaged to probably one of my best friends at the time. Right? They were like hooking up behind my back for the last couple months of our relationship, and they got engaged. And they didn't even tell me. She didn't even break up with me. Literally, we were still together. And she posted her engagement ring on Instagram. And I saw that, and I was like, what the fuck's that mean? Like, my dumb man brain still couldn't comprehend that, like, we just broke up officially. Called her, tried to figure that whole thing out. She basically said, screw you. Like, I'm done. And I was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to change my life.
That is on a next level.
Oh, bro.
Of fucked.
So when I was saying like toxic motivator, like that was definitely a toxic motivator. But because of that, right, I got back into the gym. I got back into bodybuilding. I met Fred, the guy was literally my first ever coach. I begged him for a job because like I was bartending at the time. I was making pretty good money, but I was like, I really want to be a personal trainer because I'm like so invested into just bodybuilding. Like I just wanted to learn. Like I wanted a craft. I wanted a trade. I wanted something that was like just not pouring shit into a cup and then serving it to someone that didn't appreciate it. You know what I mean? And he literally with no prerequisites, no nothing. He was like, yeah, sure, come on board. Like we'll give it a shot. And that dude ran with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, like my Heartbreak turned into a pretty cool career, up until this point. And it's funny. I actually had lunch with that girl, right? Not like probably a couple years, like 3 years after we broke up. Like I already competed in like 2 or 3 bodybuilding shows. Like I competed at nationals, took top 10 at the time at nationals. And I remember sitting there. We were literally sitting just like me and you. And like right at the end, we were talking and it was kind of like getting like that awkward silence, like, okay, it's time to leave. But I was like, I just want to let you know. And I looked her dead in the eyes. It's like, I just want to say thank you, for all that you did for me. Right. And she just started bawling. And I was like, look, it's nothing to cry about. I'm being serious. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. It's like, you pushed me, right, to be so uncomfortable with myself, to realize because dude, I mean, my past was like, I was all banged up on drugs, alcohol, just like being stupid for a living, realistically. And she sobered me up. I mean, like, she really, like, genuinely humbled me. And I just, like, I had this overwhelming desire. Like, at one point, I was just like, I'm just going to talk to her and I'm going to just thank her and it comes from a genuine place. And she was just like, well, that wasn't my intention. I was like, I'm not asking what your fucking intention was. What I'm saying is, shut up. Thank you. You know what I mean? And, fast forward over 10 years, I'm still here doing the damn thing.
She said that wasn't my intention.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, are you dumb?
Well, listen.
It's like you dumb? No shit. Yeah. You posted on your Instagram while I was in bed.
Yeah, you're rude.
You got engaged.
Yeah, you're that word that I can't say because we're being recorded right now. No, it was something, man, where it's like I reflect on that a lot. You know what I mean? I really do. Because, a lot of you could really chalk up a lot of my life just being like, okay, like, life is literally in the shitter right now. Like, this is just like a new low for me. How do I win? You know what I mean? Like, how do I actually like overcome this? How do I get better? How do I learn from this? Right. And that was my first ever like real life lesson. Not that, and look, like I was hooked on drugs when I was like 14. You know what I mean? Ran that until I was 17. When I was 17, went to rehab for 19 months. You know what I mean?
Oh shit.
I was in there, dude. I was in there. Like I legitimately had to go. You know what I mean? I mean, I was, hooked on heroin, cocaine. I was doing a lot of stupid shit that 14, 15-year-olds from the suburbs should not be doing. You know what I mean? But I was also, back then, I was a great example. Like, it didn't matter what, where you came from. Didn't matter what kind of, like, family dynamic you had. It's all the same. Like, my dad's an attorney. My mom worked for the state and federal government. You know what I mean? Like, I did not get raised like that. I landed there somehow. You know what I mean? So, but, like, even with that, like, going and, meeting this girl and falling in love and then getting absolutely heartbroken, like, that was, like, my first actual adult reality check where I was like, fuck, like I really got to start taking accountability for myself. I really got to learn. And I need to realize, like, at 20, 21 years old, not that I'm old at all by any means, but it's like, I'm not going back in time. I'm getting older, so it's like all my friends were, in college or, getting out of college. They had jobs, careers. Like I was just partying for a living still, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, like where do I go from here? Right. And I, found bodybuilding. That was my outlet. Became obsessed with bodybuilding. Found personal training just because I had a genuine interest, right? And then it's just like when I'm obsessive. I'm an addict, So it's like when I really like something, I was like, no. Like it's like my whole life is fixated and oriented around how do I just become better. And then just through conversation again with Fred and just other person. It's just kind of just went from there. You know what I mean?
In that timeline was the breakup when you were 21?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like 21, 22 era.
Dude,
yeah.
That's fucked for a 21-year-old.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was, I'm telling you, bro, like I've been through some shit, from since then. That was still like that was the most pivotal, probably one of the most pivotal moments of my life. You know what I mean? Just because of like how, like, what's the word? Like how opposite we were on like I thought we were good. You know what I mean? We were just had a great weekend. Like I thought we were chilling.
Oh, I understand that.
Okay, there you go. So and then like you wake up and you're like, "Oh my God, my whole world is wrong. Mm-hmm. My whole life was wrong. Everything I thought was wrong." Right? So it's like you can't even trust your instincts because your instincts just fucked you. You know what I mean? So it's like it was legitimate like ground zero, rebuild from here. Let's go. You know what I mean? And it's just been like, I don't know. I always tell people like I failed a billion times, like legit, like bro, like every fucking day I fuck up something, right? And I only won once, right? And it's really that win was getting into bodybuilding, right? But like fanning the flame of that win for the last like over almost 10 years, I've just been kind of like just cooking it, you know what I mean? Because like that's all I have, you know what I mean? Like I haven't, like, sure, there are other subsequent wins, but it's like it all stemmed from that one little ember that basically was started, right, by that whole breakup.
So you count wins by just like what you got into?
Basically.
Because part of your intro was actually going to be literally, quote unquote, proud father of a 2026 M6.
M3, yeah. So that was, is this good?
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks good, right? So you speak about those bartending skills coming in fucking handy. You know what I mean? I'm going to see if I can put a good head on this thing.
The wine glass came back.
Yeah. Boom. This is actually my favorite. I'm really surprised. I'm not even kidding.
I've done my research.
I literally had one this morning when I was on my way to the gym. Ooh, looks so pretty. All right. Yeah, no, the M3 buy was... not gonna lie, it was definitely it was kind of like an accident. I don't really know how to explain this. I don't know how to explain it.
Buys an expensive ass car on accident.
Okay, so like maybe that's not the best way of explaining it. So I bought a new car already earlier that year. I bought an Audi S6, 2025 Audi S6, and the second I got in that car was a fucking lemon, dude. Everything broke on it. Everything sucked. I popped 5 tires in the first month. Like I was pissed. I hated that car. And I went actually to Audi, right, with my coach Nick, right? And he bought an RS6, I bought an S6. And he literally just, hey, can you just come here and just kind of like schmooze the salesman, maybe give me a better deal? And he ended up selling Nick his car and me a car, right? Which that was actually an accident. I had no intention of buying. Okay, I had no intention of buying a vehicle. The Audi sucked so bad, I literally woke up the next morning, drove it to BMW. I was like, what is your best offer? They're like, here you go. And I was like, okay, I want that fucking thing. And that was basically it. But like the BMW for me was always something where it's like, when I was younger, I always wanted this car. I always wanted an M3. I had no idea about cars. I just always loved BMW. And I always wanted a fast car. And this was like my first ever like fast car buy. And it definitely signified a lot of joy. It reinforced a lot of it reinforced a lot of things. Like I think people, especially in coaching, they forget how impactful coaches can be, like how much of a role you can play in so many different lives, and like, you know, positive and or negative, you know what I mean? And I think like buying that car, as silly as it is, because it's very materialistic, but it's like it signified that like many people put their, you know, their best interest in my hands. And to get to a certain point of where like, you know, you can not even afford something like that. I don't want to sound like super like weird, but like, you know, being able to buy that car, right? I just had to help a lot of people. There was a lot of service that was involved in that. There was a lot of, there was a lot of discipling a lot of different people, you know what I mean? And even more so, there's so many fucking hours that nobody ever saw, right? Nor care to hear about, of me just being alone, right? And trying to get better, you know, whether that's through like endless just like YouTube videos, conversations, you know, driving places just and spending your last dollar to get there just so you could sit in on a seminar and just learn one fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like that was like just justified a lot of the silliness, I guess you could call it, and a lot of just like what coaching is really about. And again, it's about discipleship. It's about teaching. It's about taking someone's life and bettering it, you know. And I think a lot of people nowadays sadly weaponize that, you know, and you know take advantage of people. But like, it was something that was really genuine, yeah. But you know, side point, that fucking car is sick. You know what I mean? Yeah, so
I was gonna say like, you post buying a car, but then everybody just is instinctually negative nowadays, and everybody just wants to say like, oh, fuck you, he's just like flexing.
Yeah.
But like, nobody sees the work you did alone. Everybody just sees you got lucky,
right,
when luck was your girl cheating on you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, see, and these are the questions nobody asks, right?
Like, I want you to just like, as a transition, just like take a second.
Sure.
And I want you to literally go from your back in the day when you were your 21-year-old self.
Okay.
To now where you're at. Every single bodybuilding win,
sure,
either for yourself, your clients,
sure,
or even like the therapist that you had to be for a lot of people.
Yeah, shit, that's everyone.
So what's it like being here where you are now and seeing where your 21-year-old self, or even your yourself in rehab?
Sure.
What's that like?
You know, it's funny. I actually share this story, and I shared this story recently. I remember I got like, I got in trouble. We'll say that. You know what I mean? And my dad had to come pick me up, and I was probably like 15 or 16, right? And this is right before like I was getting ready to basically drop out of high school, just because like I wasn't going. You know, I wasn't a bad kid, right? I just could not, no matter how hard I tried, just did not know how to do right. You know what I mean? I just could not figure out what was good. You know what I mean? I remember my dad and I were driving, and it was like that dad awkward silence, quiet thing where it's just like he doesn't say a word to you, but it's the worst. Like I'd rather him yell at me, right, than just sitting there, just disappointed dad. And he finally broke the silence. He was like, my dad's very like real. My dad's old. My dad's like 75. He's a little bit older than everyone else. My dad, had me and my twin brother when he was in his 40s. So my dad's like old school dad. He's like, what the fuck do you plan on doing with the rest of your life? And with no good reason, bro. No good reason at all. This came out of my mouth and it shocked the both of us. I literally looked at him. I was like, I have no fucking idea, but whatever the fuck I am going to do, I'm going to be damn good at it. Literally just like that. And it was the weirdest thing because I had no leg to stand on to ever say that, right? This is back when I was 16. Now, granted, it took years, right, to fucking make good on that promise, right? But regardless, that moment that my dad and I shared gave me hope, bro. And again, kind of like I fanned the flame of like that bodybuilding thing. It's just like I fanned that flame of hope because if I lost that, dude, I wouldn't have made it through rehab. You know what I mean? And that wasn't the first time I went to rehab. You know, I wouldn't have made it through anything like that little bit of just like fucking hope that I held on to. I held on to it for years. That's why I don't have any patience for people when they give up so fast. It's like, fuck you. You have no idea, right? All the shit that I had to go through, right? Self-induced, right? In order to get there. But, you know, from 21, like, and trying to condense the last like 10 plus years, into this whole thing. It's just like, at 21 years old, I was out of rehab and I wasn't doing drugs, but I was fucking drinking all the time. You know what I mean? I was a badass alcoholic, man. I loved it. You know what I mean? Like, it was fun. It was cool. I remember going to the beach, Dewey Beach, for my birthday. I had all my best friends there, right? And totally blacked out, did something silly, did some really silly stuff, caused a lot of damage to an Airbnb because I really just had no idea what I was doing. I think at one point someone headbutted a television. I'm not saying it was me. Someone did. There might have been a video.
I've been there.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Having off time in the Marines is a wild time.
Yeah, dude. So it's funny. My uncle, he was a combat instructor down in Camp Lejeune. He was a Marine sniper. He would tell me stories. Y'all motherfuckers are crazy. Would have been a fun time to get partying.
If there's one thing we're good at,
party.
It's drinking.
Yeah.
And killing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's as a Marine, that's a prerequisite, So you should meet my Uncle Billy. I think you guys would get along just
I feel
fine.
like it is like once you pass that crucible, it's just like you are immune to alcohol.
Yeah. Dude, look, I've coached a lot of like
whatever bad shit comes out of it, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah. Well, when your back's against the wall and you've been through hell and back, it's just like, well, there's nothing else that's worse than this. Bring it on. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I was out at the beach and I legitimately blacked out, and I was so bad. All my friends essentially just like they jumped me when I was down there. You know what I mean? Just to like put me out, like just to put me the fuck out. Right. I woke up the next morning. Right. All my friends left. My one friend stayed, and that was just because he felt bad that I didn't have a ride home from the beach, right? We drove up in complete silence. He dropped me off in my car, right? And then I was driving home, and I drove past the original training center. You know what I mean?
No shit.
That's where Fred was. I had no reason to even go past there. I legitimately I was still pretty fucked up. I booked a U-turn, went into that gym, signed up for the gym. That's where Fred was. Fred and my dad knew each other from way back in the day, right? So I'm talking to him, and I was just basically told him everything. I was like, look, I can't stop fucking drinking. I can't stop fucking up. Like, I don't know anything about this bodybuilding thing. Literally, I don't know anything about this bodybuilding thing, but I know I can't drink, right? Because I needed something to control me, right? Like, I couldn't do it for myself yet. So I needed something, right?
External motivator.
Something, just to fucking condense myself, right? And he was like, awesome, yeah, let's do, the big cat. And I'm like, what's that mean? He was like, you were 16 weeks out. Like, literally that day. Never heard of bodybuilding, never even thought of bodybuilding, never anything bodybuilding. 16 weeks out that day, walked out of his office. And I fucking troubleshot all of my first prep by myself. Like, Fred was there, obviously. He was a fantastic coach, right? But, like, he's busy, right? All the ins and outs, like the posing, the this, that, the third. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I showed up the show day, right? Never been to a bodybuilding show. Fred wasn't there because he was somewhere else. He was on vacation, as he should be, and legitimately beat one person. And that one person I beat, he just never showed up. You know what I mean? He was just a DQ. You know what I mean? But that right there gave me just, dude, I fell in love with the process of bodybuilding. I fell in love with the concept. I fell in love with not even the community because I didn't have any. I love the fact that like I can do this for myself. And it really showed me that I'm not a pussy like I thought I was. Because for many years, I just thought I was a big old baby. You know what I mean? I was like, you got to be fucking hardcore to do this. So like,
I mean, what was going through your head when you just like went into that like backstage area and you just saw a whole bunch of like
jack dudes on trend,
half naked, fake tans on. It smells weird. Everybody's eating this, drinking this, pumping up with bands, and you're just like.
So that was basically it. It was me and my twin brother, and my brother literally looked at me. He was like, "You're fucked." And I was like, yeah, thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Yep, you're good. Yep. I know that. I know that for a fact.
Bam.
Right, literally, reality check. It was actually funny because, like, not gonna lie, my first prep, I was still battling some of my ego. So I was like, I got this shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I'll win. You know what I mean? And then I get back there, I'm like, not even close. These guys are huge, right? So, but yeah, so I did my first show, and like I said, I fell in love with it. You know, did the typical, okay, now I want to be a professional, you know, fitness professional, whatever thing. Got my job working with Fred, mentored under him for many years. And then just consistently started competing, you know. And like as I was competing, you know, I was personal training, and like it got to the point where I could leave my job and be a full-time personal trainer. The personal training business grew really fast. You know, it's just like for me specifically, it you know, I'd never really had like, you know, issues with client acquisition or anything like that. And I think it's just because like a lot of my clients were just having like so much fun. You know, training with me, like we were making a blast. And dude, I had no idea, you know, sorry to all my first clients. I had no fucking idea with whatever the fuck I was doing with you guys. We were figuring it out as we went, though. You know what I mean? It was a good time. You know, it was a good workout, right? And, you know, I ended up, you know, in personal training. You know, I found my current girlfriend, Sophia, she was a client of mine. She's been a client of mine for almost 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, right? Started training her. She's never even been inside of a gym before, right? Train with her. And I'll say this, just fast forward a little bit to, you know, when she went pro was probably one of the greatest experiences of my life, right? Not only because, like, obviously that's the love of my life, right? But it was probably one of the greatest experiences because I literally took her from not even knowing how to do a fucking dumbbell row, right, to winning her pro card in bikini. You know what I mean? In 3 years, in 4 years. And, like, that was really reinforcing to, like, at least my coaching, right? It's like, damn, I can fucking do this, right? But regardless, you know, met her, we started competing, the team started building. In between then, you know, like me competing under Fred, I did a couple of shows with him before I moved over to my new coach, Nick. And life was pretty interesting. You know what I mean? It was fun. It was exciting. Like I was, you know, not drinking, wasn't doing any drugs. You know, I was just really focused on my business. You know, really focused on my business. And, you know, couple years, really, it's just like, you know, I not much happened during that time. I would say probably when life gets exciting again was realistically right around when my client Danielle and Sophia both went pro. That was when, at least for like myself, work-related stuff, like really started getting busy. And then I missed the part when I went pro. I forgot about that.
I was about to say, like,
yeah, I forgot about that. Well,
mention that.
Yeah, so I actually quit my personal training job. Working for Fred just because like I just wanted to go full time online. You know what I mean? I mean, like, personal training's fantastic and it's my first ever passion, but there's only so many hours you can do, right?
Like, literally physically.
Literally.
There's only so many hours. Right.
That's just like, and I was doing, you know, sometimes like 14, 15 appointments a day, you know, at 1 hour appointments, right? And at the time I was engaged, you know what I mean? I was engaged to, well, doesn't matter, but, you know, I was engaged and, you know, we were talking about having a family, we were talking about doing all this stuff. And it's just like, well, you know, I can't do personal training at 15, 16 hours a day and be a dad. You know, I can't be a husband, can't be someone that I want to be. So, like, I left Fred and started my online coaching, which was cool. You know, it was very small at the time. I probably had like 20, 30 clients. It really wasn't much. You know what I mean? It was kind of a big jump going from like a full-blown personal training business with, you know, people working for you to like, you know, just not, right? But yeah, you know, was doing that. Went pro at Universe, which was probably one of the worst days of my life, believe it or not.
Why does almost every pro I talk to saying it was either the weirdest, the worst, or I don't remember at all?
I'll tell you what, man. Going pro was... Going?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. God bless you. Going pro was probably, man, it was so surreal, right? It was so surreal, but it was probably one of the worst days of my life, dude. It really was because, like, you know, getting started in bodybuilding, I had no direction. I just knew pro was the goal, right? And Fredo was just like, if you want to coach pro bodybuilders, you got to be a pro bodybuilder. I'm like, fuck yeah, that makes sense, right? Because, like, you got to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, you got to do everything, right? I never thought, this is what fucked me up. I never thought about after going pro, right? I always knew I was going to go pro, right? Because I wasn't going to stop until I did, right? But I never thought about after pro, Right. And when I got on stage, won my pro card, they give you this nice little thing, you know what I mean? And then as soon as you walk around stage, you're like, fuck you, give me that. Here's your little shitty piece of paper. You know what I mean? And you're walking out, and I remember looking at this thing and just being overwhelmingly excited, right? And then as soon as I allowed myself to be super vulnerable and excited, reality just crashed. And my brain was like, okay, now you're the bottom bitch, the IFBB. Now nobody fucking knows you. Now nobody cares. Now you got to work your way back up.
Do you think part of that was just like the post-show blues and like that dopamine like crash?
I think there's a big
And
part.
also like hormonally.
Sure. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. I just think realistically, it just was something I never entertained that, like that afterthought about after pro, you know, and it ruined the day. You know what I mean? I could even, like, my coach Nick was like so pumped, you know what I mean? Because I went pro, and then my homie Shell, she went pro, I think it was the day before, right? But like, he got 2 pro cards that weekend. You know, he was like, fuck yeah. And I was like, fuck you, leave me alone, let me cry. You know what I mean? And me and my fiance, we ran. Like, I fucking ran out of that building, took photos, and ran. Went back to our Airbnb, and dude, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was on my hands and knees in the shower sobbing. You know what I mean? Just because, again, like, you know, winning, like going pro was like really reinforcing. Like, once again, it was another huge accomplishment of my life, right? Especially from how, like, you know, where I was to, you know, where I was now. But it was something where it's just like, damn, dude, like, you know, you work all this fucking effort, blood, sweat, literally blood, sweat, tears, everything. You know how it is. And then you get it, and you're just like, fuck.
What now?
Exactly, dude. And like, that to me is terrifying. Terrifying. Like, I was like, well, yeah, what now? Like, what do I couldn't comprehend that. It's just like, it's a cylindrical effect. Like, you just repeat, right?
After so many years of like structure, routine.
Yes.
And also I wanted to ask you, like, did you have that dinner or like lunch with your ex like before or after you turned pro?
No, this is way before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's also part of the journey to like change your why.
Yeah.
Do you believe like
That's a good point.
At least for the first half of your bodybuilding journey, whatever emotions you had towards that event and your ex was like your why at the time? Or were you more self-motivated during that first half, and then the second half, I feel like from what it sounds like, your why changed so drastically. You, I guess, like didn't have that negative reinforcement. The only negative at that time was just like the what now.
Sure. That's actually a fucking awesome question. I've never thought of that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I could be, what I can say is, it's like that big breakup of mine is the motivation behind getting initiated and all this stuff. I think probably to some degree it was I wasn't really, I think, anymore like proving to her like, fuck you, like I got this, you know, because we were actually on pretty good terms, you know what I mean? I think it was like that why, right? Like that very toxic fear-based motivation finally was just like a check off the box, you know what I mean? And I think because I checked that off the list, like so much of my focus and attention and like, again, like so much of my energy was going into this one thing. It was just like, now it's the void of, you know, and me, again, like all that time probably played a big role in that. You know what I mean? That's actually a really good question. I've never thought of it like that.
And when that why changed,
yeah.
When did it change and what was it?
I'll say this. I after going pro, I struggled with finding it. You know what I mean? I'll tell you this. My why changed when I realized what I wanted out of my life. You know what I mean? I want to be a person of service. You know what I mean? Like my job is more than just my job. It's my character. You know, it's what I've always wanted to do. And when I finally accepted that, you know what I mean? It's just like, you're going to be in a position of service to others for the rest of your life. And like, I finally realized it and I accepted it. Like, this is I think my why now, instead of being like, so again, self-motivated and just like, I just want to be, you know, like a pro bodybuilder. I want to be a successful business owner. You know, I want to be like a lot of these different things. It's like now, like my why is like, I just want to be a really good fucking person. You know what I mean? I want to be able to mentor and, like I said, disciple and just coach so many awesome, like-minded people. And when I finally realized that and really honed in on that, I think everything changed. You know what I mean? I think my why changed, my reasoning behind things. Because you know how it is sometimes. Like when you're out of touch with your reasoning, it's hard to get started. You know what I mean? And it's like I definitely struggled with that after going pro. You know, and it's just like now it's just like clockwork. You know, because I have like a very not toxic. I have a very like happy, pure, in my opinion, motivation behind what I'm doing now. You know, but yeah, I think that, and this happened, I'm not gonna lie, dude, this happened like probably a year ago. You know what I mean? Like it was after going pro and realizing that shift, took me some time, you know? And again, this is where like people are like, oh, you know, this shit's like, I've been doing this shit for, 6 months. It's like, oh, fuck you. Like go do it for another 6 months. Go beat your head against the same brick wall until you make some sense out of it. You know, that's what I was doing. Like but that's where, I guess you can call it discipline. It's just like I was disciplined enough to keep showing the fuck up because I knew it was the right thing until I figured out what's going to bring that passion back or that why background. You know, does that make sense?
Would you say with that you're a more like patient person?
Now I am. Yeah, now I am. Not before. Yeah.
Well, especially with like other people, like coaching clients, like
yeah. I think because I always felt like I had to prove myself to people. You know what I mean? Like, I started the coaching business with no mentorship, with no help, no team. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of coaches gatekeep information where I'm like not trying to be that person. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give away anything. You know, I don't really fucking care. You know what I mean? But like, it was really I was always trying to prove that I was worthy. You know what I mean? Which made me a less patient individual because my success is dictated on your fat ass not fucking eating today, right? So let's be for real, right? And it would really fucking just like piss me off, right? But it was funneled and channeled in a very positive way, always. Like I never like verbally berated my clients like you fucking dumb piece of shit. I might have said it in my head, but never on text or audio message.
But let's like clarify for like everyone listening and everyone watching, like you get like that. You get angry and frustrated because you care.
Absolutely.
Because you actually give a shit.
Absolutely.
You're not, and you mentioned this in a reel you made of what coaches need to hear.
Yeah.
You're doing it to help people.
Yeah.
So when your clients sabotage themselves, you get frustrated because you care.
Yes.
And you care in the development of your client.
Right. Yeah.
So everyone who says like, "Oh my coach is like mad at me," he's mad at me. He's mad at you because he gives a shit.
Right? Yeah. No, dude, it's something like I mean, my for many years, right? When a client wouldn't make progress, I took it personally because I thought it was a me thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I'm not able to connect with that person, or I'm not able to relate enough with that person, and it would keep me up at night. You know, because it's like I want to see this person like fucking thrive, dude. Because like I see you have potential. Because again, I always look back on my history, and it's like nobody fucking thought twice about me, right? And look where I started to where I'm at. So if I can do it. Sit the fuck down and like listen. You know what I mean? Every time I'd get like frustrated, it was because again, it's just like I see the potential and I'm obsessed with that idea. Like I become so obsessive. Like I look at a new client, I'm like, damn, this girl's gonna look fucking great. Let's just fucking grind it out. And then there's friction, right? And I get mad, or used to get really mad, right? Because it's like, well, how do you not see what I see, right? Like it's so clear.
And it's a positive picture.
100%. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. No, never. And, again, like my impatience, especially back then, was based and driven on, like I want to succeed. I want to excel. And in order for me to do that, you got to do it first, right? Because I'll never get to the level of coaching that I want to get at if you don't do good or do well or whatever common proper grammar is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, you're right. Like people get frustrated, especially clients, because like they want a lot of hand holding in some cases. It's usually the people. It's like, I don't need anything. I just need you to diet plan and a training program, and then they're texting you at like 1:30 in the morning on a Sunday, like help me, red alert, red button, like the whole nine. It's like, okay, I've seen this before, And the problem is, like, there's no amount of hand holding that's going to get you through this, especially when it's on your side of the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've seen so many clients lose because they lose up here, right? And that was something that no matter how gifted the coach is, right? You could have the best training program. We always hear it, best training program, best this. You know, you could have the smartest guy when it comes to supplementation. If you suck mentally, like if you're weak mentally, right, you're never going to see it. Like you may get close, but you're never going to tap into that real potential. And I think like a good concept of coaching is like, how do you teach someone, right, to do that? I think that's really what makes like a good coach, right? Because it's nurture, right? I think there's a lot of nurturing that should be involved. That's not hand holding, right? There's a difference, right? But good nurturing is creating positive environment, right? It's creating positive reinforcement for sure. It's also just like not letting shit slide. You know, like I've had a client this weekend, and you know she was like, I was moving, and like you know I decided to blah, whatever. And it's just like, okay, awesome. You know, like we're gonna chalk this weekend up as a lose or as a loss. It's like I don't blame you for doing that, but realistically, if you were to look back on it, could you identify a few times during that day where you could have actually eaten your meals instead of something else? And they're like, well, yeah. It's like, okay, well then why didn't we? Well, it's because, and then you usually get like not an excuse, right, by any means. But you get
while they're typing it, they're doing that self-talk.
Exactly. And then that's the point, right? Because now we're identifying holes, right, in either your logic, we're identifying holes in your train of thought, in your sequence of things, where it's like next time, right, this conversation will resonate. And generally it does. You know what I mean? But like a lot of people are just quick to be like, oh, well, you cheated on your diet on Monday because it was your mom's birthday and you're fucking, 57 weeks out from your next show. Fuck you, you piece of shit. Well, you don't fucking take me serious. Like, fuck you. And, they're just like, where it's like, cool, that works if that's your personality by all means, but it's just like, that's not going to teach them anything. If anything, you're reinforcing bad behavior because every time now they're going to think about doing it, yeah, they're afraid.
And now they're not going to communicate with you because they're afraid of you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you can ask any of my clients, bro, any of them. Like, there's a lot of them now. We are one big fucking happy family. Like, I got a group chat with all my clients on Instagram that legitimately I started it as like a communications thing for me. It's like, even today it's like, hey, I'm out of the office from, 11 until 2, you know what I mean? But like there is a community in there that thrives, dude. Like all my clients fuck with one another. They're constantly talking, like they're talking shit in there, you know what I mean? Like they got goofy photos of me that they Photoshop, shit like that. But like really it's a beautiful thing, man, because like everyone's supporting everyone. It's like I got a lot of people in prep right now, like they're posting, it's like, hey, like I'm not feeling it today. It's just like, like, could someone help me or has someone been there? And like people are going out of their way saying like, hey, look, like I've been in your situation before. Like it's okay. Like it's intended to feel like whatever it may be. And I think that's so awesome because like a lot of that is just like not an extension of me, of course. I don't want to take that, but it's just like we just have such good culture that's positive, additional to the fact that it's like if you're slipping, right, in our community, no one's going to let you fucking get away with it. You know what I mean? It's not just me.
Yeah, and I see it in person too.
Yeah.
Like when I interact with like this person, and they're all under you.
Yeah.
Like they post about it all the time. You can see it by the way they talk about you in person and even on social media. Like it's very apparent they love you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm actually going to be at a few of your client shows.
Nice. Thank you.
And I love this shit.
Yeah.
But just because like number one, they're my friends. Number two, like one of the shows is actually on my birthday.
Hey, there you go.
So I don't want to do anything else except be at a bodybuilding show personally.
Listen,
birthday.
That sounds like a lot of fun to me too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like when I was going through like the worst time of my life, recently, so basically, me and my girlfriend at the time, we were doing like a 9 months long distance thing, but it was just to like take care of my parents.
Sure.
And then, I worked a lot of jobs. I worked in a cardboard box factory. I worked in restaurants. I worked as a personal trainer, and I helped open a restaurant. And once that restaurant was open, I moved back to Florida. Like drove.
Yeah.
Packed all my shit in my tiny little Fiat.
Yeah. I'm out.
Bodybuilding posters, like, and I drove those like 18 hours to Florida.
Wow.
And as soon as I got there, we went on a date, and I looked her in the eye, and I said, this is the happiest and healthiest I've ever been mentally and physically. She didn't have too much of a reaction to it, which I was like, okay.
Right.
But whatever, I'm happy I'm here.
Yeah.
12 days later, and I was like on track to go to the police academy in Jacksonville.
Right.
To become Jacksonville PD.
Right.
And 12 days later, without any warning, no hints, nothing.
No.
I just came back home from like job hunting, out of the house for like 8-10 hours.
Right.
Job hunting.
Right.
It's 8 o'clock at night. It's not like too late.
Right.
And she's already in bed. Lights are off and everything. I'm like,
weird.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, you know what? Hinges are off. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
You send me all these couples TikToks
Right.
about waiting at the front door for me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 8 o'clock. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Not that like every woman should stand at the front door.
No, I know
like,
what you mean.
But like, you haven't seen me all day,
right.
and
Where are you?
Yeah.
I need you.
so she was in the bedroom sleeping,
Right.
and I was like, yo, we need to talk. And by the way, right before I went in her bedroom,
Mhm.
I was getting like a FaceTime call from my buddy's girlfriend in Vegas.
Yeah.
She's FaceTiming me. I hear him screaming bloody murder in the background. And she's like, what do I do? He dislocated both of his shoulders.
Oh, how?
I don't know, he fell weird, dislocated it. And then when he tried slamming it in the wall back in, he dislocated the other one. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Wait a second. Can someone explain that to me? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm 100%. I swear on my life.
Ew.
And I was like, what are you calling me for? Call 911.
Yeah.
And I'm not there to reset it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a paramedic, but not a magician.
Yeah. Seriously. I mean, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
good for your friend.
she calls 911. Everything's all good. Once that's handled,
Then you got to come home to this.
and this was already while I was home.
Yeah.
I'm FaceTiming him in the house.
Oh, no shit. So you're, oh.
And then I go into her bedroom, and I was like, we need to talk.
Yeah.
And she replies, no, don't wake me up. I already got my day planned for tomorrow. And I was like, when have I ever woken you up for anything?
Right.
Ever.
Right. This is obviously very important.
In the 3 years that we've been together, I've never woken you up for shit.
Right.
I missed your call and flew here
Right.
in the summer.
Right. Right.
If I say we need to talk, it's serious.
Yeah.
And that's also a true story. I missed her call and then spontaneously took a flight to Florida to see her.
True love, bro.
That's what makes me like sleep good at night. I would have been a damn good husband. I don't give a fuck what anyone has to say.
You know, dude, if you could look at yourself in the mirror and say you gave your honest shot, honest effort, no qualms. Yeah, that's like a uniformed sort of thing in all my past relationships, where it's just like, if I can confidently look at myself in the mirror and be like, you know what, you did everything in your power to make this work. God bless. God bless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And I said straight up out of the gate, do you love me? And silence. 12 days after I drove back. And she's
I'll
like,
drink to that.
she's like, I love you, but I don't want to be with you. And I'm like, I'm here, dog.
I am in the building.
I'm not driving back to PA. I'm here.
Oh, Jesus, fuck.
Like, we were looking at apartments together.
Yeah.
Dude, during that 9 months, she literally went like shopping for stuff
Yeah.
to put in our apartment, and it was just all in the guest room.
Yeah.
All of the furnishing, all the knickknacks, all the toothpaste,
Yeah,
the
I'm sorry, bro.
silverware, everything.
Sorry to hear about that.
And yeah, I took like a very suicidal drive, came back, fell asleep. And then,
Sometimes you just got to get out, you know?
oh, dude, I was going to do some war crimes, seriously.
Yeah. Well, thank God you didn't.
Thank God. And I came back into the most painful morning ever.
Yeah.
I would give her flowers the 20th of every month because we got together on the 20th of like March.
Good for you.
What date is today? Oh, it's the 31st. Well, anniversary to that. Anyway. Anyway, the 20th of every single March, I would give her roses.
I'm sorry. I don't want. You're just okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. Sometimes I'm just like.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Jesus.
But anyway, I would give her roses the 20th of every month for 3 years. Or 2.5.
Sure.
And what I didn't know this entire time, until that morning, she started to take out bags of like rose petals, preserved.
Really?
And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I would preserve like the rose petals you would give me to use at our wedding. Threw them right in the fucking trash.
Are you serious?
Right in the fucking trash.
Bro, what?
And for Christmas, I had no money.
Right.
As any young person should never have money on Christmas.
Nope. We're out here panhandling, brother.
So one of her presents for me, I bought a stack of 500 Post-it notes.
Mm-hmm.
I hand wrote 500 love letters, all in the trash.
Yo, what? First off, mad props. Because not that I love Sophia. That is fucking, first off, that's very difficult, right? And that is probably the most thoughtful thing. That is very thoughtful. And
every gift I would give is very personal.
I could tell. That's awesome. And she just was like, you know what, dude? Fuck it. That's basically what it was.
The up scrapbook we were supposed to fill out, trash.
Oh, fuck. That's gotta hurt.
All the photos and picture frames, trashed.
That's gotta hurt.
Dude, she posted on her story a picture of her room. It was clean the next day.
Wait, after you guys broke up?
Yeah. Posted it on her story. Clean the next day. No presence of me at all. We went to bodybuilding shows together. We went to the Olympia
Yeah, you guys had
together.
a life, dude. You guys had a life. Yeah, I get it.
And I was going to propose in August.
Wow.
Like this August.
Right.
And so yeah, like I had to literally God's timing.
Yeah.
Guess what show was that day? The Daytona Pro-Am, the show I competed in.
No shit.
My first show ever was that day.
Really? Wow.
I already bought tickets the day before, so I was like, fuck it.
You're gonna go.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's turned into like a safe space for you.
Dude, it was supernatural. Not a single fucking tear left my face the second I sat down in that red carpeted chair.
Yeah, sure.
I was so like invested in the bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy how it can be something like that for people. You know what I mean? I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I mentioned it so casually to there is the owner of the FN gym in Edgewater and 3 of his members. They were the first people physically there for me.
Right.
And I just mentioned it so casually. I was like, yeah, that's not a thing anymore. Yeah. Me and Marissa aren't a thing anymore. And they were all like, what?
And you said so stoically. I'm sure.
And before the show started, they're like, are you good?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm here.
Yeah. Dude, but you know what? I think there's something to really like pinpoint there, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the journey. You know what I mean? And like you were already invested into the, you know, the sport and things like that. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter the journey, right? Like really, and this is the cool thing. It's like you can make bodybuilding whatever you need it to be. You know what I mean? Like it can be, it's like, look, like, you know, I don't agree with the statement where it's like people are like, you know, training is my, you know, my mental asylum, or, you know, whatever it is, like is my therapist. I don't agree with that, because like that's just a very like, I think that's a very like disconnected statement. But like for you, right, going through something so traumatic and then the following day being able to find solace in a community and in a sport and in a passion of yours, I think is fantastic, because it's not even about the escape, right? It wasn't really an escape. It was more like, this is just my happy place where I can subconsciously work through the shit that I just went through while simultaneously not being on like a suicide watch. You know what I mean? Which rightfully and justifiably so, anyone in your situation should probably be placed on, you know, 24-hour care, right? So it's like, I think it's cool, man. I think that's empowering. It goes to show, like I said, like the sport is so powerful. It can save someone's life.
It literally saved mine.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And
yeah.
what was also crazy is that I had a client en route to do the Big Cat the next weekend.
Oh, hell yeah. That was my first show, like I said.
So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to kill myself. I'm going to drive all the way fucking to PA.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to drive back to PA and peek this motherfucker in person.
There you go.
So
I'm gonna peek the shit out of him.
So most traumatic experience ever. Boom. Right. Bodybuilding. I'm back, baby.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Coach mode.
Yeah, I think that's great though, man. I mean, you know, I think that's, but like that's how, again, you can use this sport, right? In so many, like I've found out so much about myself, right? Whether as an athlete or as a coach or just as an enthusiast, as a pure lover of what the sport really is. It's because it provides so much. And again, you can personalize it. Like, I think it goes to show how, you know, like people like taboo bodybuilding, I think a lot, because they're just like, well, you got to do a lot of drugs. You know, you got to do, it's like, well, yeah, if you want to be good, you know what I mean? But like,
it's like, you're telling me if I take this,
yeah.
I'm depressed now, but you're telling me I'll be depressed with muscles?
Right. And with a six-pack, absolutely. Like, sign me up, take two.
I'd rather be depressed and jacked than depressed and fat.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, literally, though. Yes. You know what I mean? Absolutely. That sounds awesome, right?
Oh, it's just like, you're telling me, like, you don't want to walk around with 20-inch arms? It doesn't matter how you got them. What matters is that you fucking got them.
Right, dude. Find that shit. You know what I mean? No, I think but again, like I think a lot of people like they taboo the sport because it's just like, again, it's got so many negative connotations, but people don't like they don't invest themselves into it because they're just like, oh well, you know, you guys are all like, again, like I've had people say it's like almost like culty. Well, it's like that's not really fair because first off, it's really not, you know what I mean? And second off, it's like if you actually gave this shit a chance, right? Even if you just want to do one show. I tell a lot of people all the time, like my lifestyle athletes that are like super hardcore into like pushing themselves and like just being a better version of them. It's like, look, if you're really into fitness, right? You owe yourself one chance. You owe yourself one prep, right? Because it's the mental, spiritual, emotional transcendence, right, that we experience as bodybuilders going through a contest prep. That's really that's the return on the investment there, right? It's like people are always like, oh, it's so physically demanding. It's like, well, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. It's like, but also like if you weren't into training, right, you wouldn't even fucking consider bodybuilding. Like that's 90%, you know, like that's, well, I wouldn't say 90, but that's a big percentage that goes into it, right? We don't do it for that. I don't do bodybuilding because I like working out. Yes, that was the walkthrough, right? That was the intro, but like I do it because like it's all the emotional tethers and the spiritual tethers that are oriented with the sport that become my obsession, right? Because you learn something new after every prep about yourself. You know, it's like I've learned about this prep, you know, whatever. It's just like I am a, you know, I am a grateful individual. I am by far not a perfect individual. You know, I have flaws. I have this, that, and the third. And no matter what it is, right, I got to accept all that stuff, and I got to encourage the things that are good, and I got to negotiate the things that are bad to make more room for the things that are good. Because if I want to win using my competitive spirit in an advantageous way, right, if I want to win, I got to be nil of or less nil or less of, excuse me, a lot of these things that take rather than give, you know? And I think you see people and personalities change per the prep because I feel like they have some people aren't aware enough to understand this, but like the ones that are, it's like you have a more, I'd say you have like, truthfully, I feel like you have a better relationship with yourself after each one because like, again, everything comes differently. Like I have 2 clients in prep right now, right? they're both kind of like they're getting a little nitty gritty of it. They're 5 weeks out. It's a big show. You know what I mean? It's a huge show. It's the biggest show of both their careers. And, they're really feeling it. And it's just like, okay, awesome, right? That's fucking good. We need
feel that shit.
Right. Absolutely. Like fucking embrace this and go pursue it. Like instead of running away from it, run headfirst into it. Like be about it. And they are. And that's why they look good. You know what I mean? It's the ones that are trying to like, oh, I'm hungry, so let's push the Retta up to 15 milligrams a week, like trying to like out Retta the starvation. It's just like, I feel like there should be a rule, especially with GLPs, where it's like nobody's allowed to use it until you do one bodybuilding prep without it, because you need to know how fucking starving you can be. You know what I mean? That's like a life lesson there, right? You know what I mean? But, it's like...
Yeah, because like, here's the thing. If you, for somebody that's thankfully done it without GLPs and know what that feels like.
Yeah, neither have I.
If you're dieting hard, you're going to find God.
Yeah. You're going to find something for sure. Yeah.
When you're going hypo and you eat shit on the treadmill or the Stairmaster.
Yep.
God,
I've tripped more times
either
than I
you're
like
going to find God or God's going to find you.
Yeah, literally.
And he's going to be like, hey.
Get up.
How you feeling, dumbass?
Right. You did this to yourself. You remember that, right? Yeah. Okay.
It's like, there's poor people starving in Africa.
Yeah.
You're eating 2,000 or 1,200 calories. Suck it the fuck up.
Yeah. Get it together. Nah, I think
you're not suffering. You're not going to war.
Yeah.
You're on an incline treadmill.
Right. It's like shut the hell up. Right. I think yeah, dude. It's something where it's like, this sport. Man, it's. There, like I said, there are ways that people try to, not even coach, but like, utilize GLP was an example, but like do certain things in order to avoid, right? Like the end result, right? And the end result is, it's like, again, it's just like through massive positions of discomfort, right? We not only become more aware of what this position is like, but we become stronger because we need to be able to build resilience in order to overcome it, right? Bodybuilding is legitimately like, hey, how do I get you to feel like shit
voluntarily,
right? But how do I get you to feel like shit and embrace that shitty feeling? And then guess what? Still fucking do everything you have to do in order to win.
It's like, hey, asshole, just because you're a bodybuilder doesn't mean you can't call out of your full-time job.
Right. Still show the fuck up. There's the owner of this company. So this company's Era Funnel. Basically they're a CRM company, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been working with them since December, right? They're fantastic. The owner, guy named Mike Krausen, right? He legitimately is running this business, right? Full throttle, right? And it is a fucking spirited business, dude. I mean, the venture itself is wild, right? He's running this business full time. He has a business partner. He's got he's got his team behind him, right? He's doing this, but he's also competing in he's doing North Americans, right? He competed in 2 shows last season, and he placed it, and he was in nationals. He's doing North Americans, right? He's got a wife, he's got he doesn't have kids, but he's got like a family, so he's not only putting on the big dad hat boss, every morning, going into his office and working for a living, but he's also waking up every morning at 5 a.m, going to the gym, eating his meal prep, not missing a fucking beat. This is the busiest man I've ever met in my entire life, and he don't fucking miss shit. So what's your but you know what I mean? Like, what's your fucking excuse that you live at your parents' house?
Yeah, on Muscle and Strength, I forget his name, but there's this one IFBB pro, like new IFBB pro, and he was featured on their newer segment called Blue Collar Bodybuilding.
Sure.
He's a blue collar ass dude. Works 12 hours a day.
Baddest motherfuckers on the planet, bro.
Manual labor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think Dan asked him, he's like, how bad do you want to become pro?
Yeah.
And he's like, more than I want to breathe.
Yeah.
You have to have that when it comes to anything. Look, it doesn't just isolate, that mindset doesn't just isolate itself in bodybuilding. It's just like, that's life, dude. Like, this is a dog-eat-dog world. It's either you or the next guy. Pick one.
But like the thing is too, right? Like, what you learn in bodybuilding about yourself is not inherently only bodybuilding. Like, you can transplant that, right, into any other facet of your fucking existence. You know what I mean? Like, if you got to work through bottlenecks in bodybuilding, you could work through bottlenecks in business. You know why? Because you showed it that you could do it in one. What's the fucking difference? You know what I mean? And like the blue collar guys, bro, I coach one. His name is Sean Williams, right? dude is a badass, right? He works 12-hour days, manual labor, right? He's got a wife, he's got 2 kids. Dude was one of the most conditioned clients I've ever had on stage, right? Never skipped a fucking cardio session, never missed a meal, never did anything. And he looked absolutely amazing. We're in an off season right now getting him ready for his next one next year. But it's like, again, tell me about your excuses, right? This dude literally gets up at 4 a.m. and fathers 2 children and then takes them to school, goes to work, gets his shit done, goes to the gym, gets his shit done, comes home, plays dad, plays husband, and then goes to sleep and then wakes back up and guess what? It's a fucking repeat. You know what I mean? Dude never missed a beat, right? It's a level of desire. This is actually a good topic we could probably even chat on too, where it's just like, my biggest pet peeve as a coach, right? Where it's just like, I just don't have the time. It's like, fuck you. It's like, yeah, the fuck you do. You know what I mean? You know why? Because you don't make the time, right? If you want, how that guy said, it's like, if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you're amazed with how many minutes and hours you have to dedicate towards your craft, right? Like, I was working 3 jobs, right? I was personal training, I was bartending, I was working at a radio station, right? And in order to be a full-time personal trainer, right, I needed to do the whatever the fucking test was. I can't even remember anymore, right? But I was doing all 3 of those things, right, where they all did not coincide with one another. I was bartending until 4 a.m. I was studying until 8. I was studying until 6 a.m. I was taking 2 to 3 hour basically naps, right? I'd go to the gym at 8:39 in the morning. I would work under a friend. I would train, take a nap in the car, go bartend. After bartend, I would sometimes go to the radio station. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like I never missed a client, never missed a meal, never skipped a training session, right? Why? Because all those 3 things justified and paid for my bodybuilding. At that point, my bodybuilding was my life, right? So when you tell me it's like, oh my God, like, you don't have time. Well, let's look at your phone. Oh my God, you were on Instagram for fucking 7 hours this week. That's crazy. That's like 2.5, 3 training sessions. Oh, you binged an entire season on Netflix of fucking whatever? Oh, that's at least like 4 cardio sessions. So you're telling me you did have the time. You just choose to not use that time wisely.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I remember like, I believe I shot the first or second episode, and where the whole suit started, I would.
Yeah, next time I need the memo, bro. You look real good right now.
So how this started was like, I would come from my security job, being a security manager in Center City, Philly. Mm-hmm. Come here to shoot, and then nap in the parking lot, go back to work.
Yeah.
And I know you saw me nap in my car on your way out.
Well, dude, when I was full-time personal training, I would have clients so early, I would sleep in the back parking lot of the gym because if I went home, I was not going to wake up. But like, you do that because it's fucking important and you prioritize that in order to make that happen. That's where it's like, you didn't have the time. That's a lie. You had the time. You just lacked a desire. You thought this fat loss shit was going to get easy. Well, listen here, motherfucker. You've been eating like an asshole for the last 10 years. You think fucking 4 weeks of coaching is going to get you in shape? Are we that unrealistic as a society where that's an actual thing? Like, not saying social media played a part in that, but like, yeah, okay. Like, the guy that has the crazy transformations, let's be honest here. Half of them are not real. Let's just be so for real. The other half are extreme drug abuse, right? Like, I'll give it, some people are just genetically, like Madeline, right? Freaks of fucking nature, right? But like, let's be so honest. It's like, you just don't care enough. And that is, to this day, probably one of my biggest like pet peeves. It's just like, oh, I just don't have the time, right? I almost fell for that for a while. And just like I said, after going pro, I was like so dead bet on just building my coaching business. Like, I didn't have the time to be a really good bodybuilder. Well, looking back on the last 2 years of my life, that was a total sellout of me because I absolutely fucking did. I could be a fantastic bodybuilder and a fantastic coach. I just didn't want the bodybuilding bad enough, right?
One of your clients also embodies that, like, fuck that, I don't have the time shit. One of your clients, Michaela, girl has like 3 jobs and she don't miss.
Dude, that girl,
she don't miss.
No. And like it's so crazy you even bring her up. Like, that girl, Michaela, we have a really good relationship. She's awesome. You know, it's her first show. You know what I mean? We had to push out of her initial show. Just she had some personal stuff come up, but we're doing a show in DC. that girl, my problem with her, right, is that she does too much. You know what I mean? And it doesn't take away from her bodybuilding because she still, again, makes the time to do it. Whereas she should be like, hey, I should probably prioritize my recovery, or like maybe I should take that nap and like push my training. She doesn't do that. She's got no excuses. So like coaching her is actually like, she's so A-type that she needs to check the boxes every day, which is fantastic, but it's almost like not working adversely. She looks amazing, but like it can, right? Same thing with, again, Madeline. It's just like, those are the kind of people you can be like, hey, look, like, yeah, okay, taking a nap is some pussy shit. Okay, like I hear you. But like realistically, when's the last time you actually had a good oh, you mean like 6 days ago? Oh, okay, so probably you should take the day off and sleep. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Like I just look at like everything she posts, and
Yeah.
I worked her out one time in Powerhouse.
Nice.
This girl just loves life.
Michaela or Madeline?
Both.
Yeah.
Like but like Michaela, she's so like bubbly and like happy to be here.
Yeah, Madeline's just like, get the fuck out of my way. Make room
like
for my big shoulders.
Madeline's the same way. Like, I'm some like nobody personal trainer at Powerhouse, and the first time I met Madeline, she's just here.
Yeah.
Like she just loves it.
Oh, yeah.
But like every time she made me die laughing the one time. She's like, every time in a stressful situation, I just freeze like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're a psychopath, and
Dude,
I love it.
Well, you know, it's crazy. So, like, she looks amazing. You know what I mean? And she's only been working out 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, I saw her back, and that freaks me out.
Yeah, because I want a back like that. I've risked kidneys to get back like that. I'm not even fucking close.
It's like Madeline, you know, like your back is what every NPC competitor is chasing after right now, right?
Yeah, genetically.
But she'll be like,
freak, dude.
she'll be like, no, my hair's this. It's like I'm not good at, and I'm like, Tiffany Sams literally said to your face,
yeah,
like you look good.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Nick Walker. It was Nick Walker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you don't frame that compliment.
Oh my God, dude. When she said that, I was like, do we need anything else to support that? She was like, well, you know, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I tell her she looks good. She's like, yeah, but you're paid. I'm like, yes, you pay me. Yes, you pay me for my service, but like, I don't need to give you fucking compliments. You know, I can also tell you're being an asshole right now. You know?
Yeah, like I don't know. Those two girls that I'm friends with, they stick out because
they work hard.
They not only work hard, but the thing I admire the most is that childlike, innocent love for
the sport,
for bodybuilding, the whole process, every nook and cranny of their day, they're just embracing with like positivity, like a childlike love for it.
Yeah.
And I want to be around people like that.
Dude, and that's like, you know, it's funny. So it's like, when I first got into bodybuilding, I wanted to coach super jacked open men, like open bodybuilding, right? I got like wellness and physique women athletes. You know what I mean? So how that happened, I have no idea. It was literally either God or it was probably just him, just like, because I have a really, I can build really good rapport with females. Not that I can't with men. I do have a lot of male clients, but primarily I coach a lot of women. You know what I mean? And
well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, how? Let's get into like the nitty gritty of it. Like,
sure.
What made you almost like specialize in like coaching females better than some female coaches?
So I don't know exactly how that happened. It started happening as a personal trainer. Like I had, you know, I was probably doing like 40, 50, 60 appointments a week at some points, and the majority of them were just women. And because of that, I had to learn a lot about women, you know, women physiology, women biology, you know, women everything, right? Because, you know, the old status back in the day, it's like you just coach a female just like a little man. Where like I swear to God, like I was I'm not gonna say who, but that's how I was trained to coach women in the very beginning.
Sorry, that's fucking hilarious.
It is hilarious, you know what I mean? Because it's so fucking far from the truth, you know what I mean? And
like a little man,
just like a little bit, you know what I mean? And it's so far from the truth, bro, because it's not the case at all, right? But I was forced. Like my demographic was primarily females. I needed to make sure that these females were like not only validated, you know, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, but like they were also physically taken care of, right? You know, a lot of these women, they want to stay as, you know, they want to stay fertile. They want to do a lot of these things. It's like, okay, well then that's something I should probably learn and educate myself about, because like there are a lot of motherfuckers out here that are like still like, yeah, just teach them like a little man. You know what I mean?
Or like wing it.
Right. Well, that's fucking, that happens. That happens a lot.
or like they'll take some like free content from like another coach that's actually good at coaching.
Right. Very abstract point of view.
And without any context, they'll make like this a solution for everything.
Yeah. A protocol coach. That's what we call it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I think it was just because, you know, I did really good work with a lot of women. And, you know, like women want to make sure, again, because they have all these things that they want to be able to maintain. You know what I mean? Like you know, virilization is a big thing, obviously, that females worry about. When men take more testosterone, we just become manlier. You know what I mean? When women take testosterone and any derivative, there is a risk, right? And then losing touch with that identity is either something you need to be okay with because the division you want to be competitive in, sadly at this point, not requires it, but like it's there, right? Or it's something that you have to talk yourself out of and just kind of get used to that you're never going to be there, because there are women that don't care that are going to be there waiting for you. You know what I mean? But, you know, I think it's because, again, like I do a lot of good work with women. Women see that. Women, you know, they communicate with my other female clients. They're just like, hey, how is this guy X, Y, and Z? And I think that's kind of how it kind of got built and established. And yeah, I mean, a majority of my clientele are females, you know, are all females, right? Majority of my clientele are, you know, whether they're lifestyle, which I have some, but like mainly I have competitors. And it was an accident. It really was. It was an awesome accident because like it really was something that drove me to learn more, to educate more, and like, you know, to, you know, seek help and mentorship. Like every year, the last couple of years, like I do a mentorship group. So, you know, like what was it? 2 years ago, I did Justin Mahaley's mentorship group, which was awesome. This year I'm doing Dom Kuza's, The Blueprint. I'm mentoring with him. Which also I have I can't really make the full announcement. I'll tell you off camera. I can't do it on here until the contracts are signed. But, you know, I have a really cool announcement when it comes to business in general. But like, you know, I chose Justin and I chose Dom because they're both so, I don't want to say far ahead. Like definitely Dom. Justin is too, obviously. Justin's brilliant. You know what I mean? But like,
I mean, those are two Einsteins of the coaching industry.
Dude, I'm like, what the, how do I learn this? You know what I mean?
Dude, my previous coach got mentored by those two.
Yeah.
7 days from my show, I looked 10 weeks out because I'm just like fucking stress ball.
Right.
Like a water buffalo.
Right. Took care of that shit.
I went from 10 weeks out to stage ready.
Yeah. It's cool.
A few days.
Yeah. I mean, dude, listen, like when Sophia and Danielle went pro, I was mentoring under Justin, right? Justin said two things to me, right, that I swear to God helped me get their pro cards, right? Like, and it was something I never would have known if I didn't pay for the help, right? And like these mentorships are not cheap. They're like, you know, I think Justin was $10,000. I think Dom was also probably like close to that, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless, right? The value of information is worth it. A, because it's applicable, right? And I could use it with my clients, not only to make sure that they're safe, right? But they actually get a desired result that they want, which in those cases was attaining a pro card. You know what I mean? And my pursued mentorship with either one of these guys, right, is literally in the sole hopes and facts that if I can keep learning these nuggets of information, keep building my resume and my let's say like my little booklet of like, okay, we're going to keep you safe, we're going to keep you healthy, yet simultaneously we're going to fucking get shit done, right? And I think, you know, again, with both these people, it's just like I've identified them as being like the holy grail of information. You know what I mean? Like I respect them both so fucking high, right? That, yeah, okay, I'm willing to invest money into them so they invest their time and their practice into me, right? Regardless, a lot of this stuff, especially with, you know, again, with the women stuff, it's like I have no idea. I am not a female, you know what I mean? So it's like I need to know someone that's done this shit, right? And I don't care if it costs money, right? Why? Because like at the end of the day, dude, it's the fucking world, right? You got to pay to get somewhere, right? I had an immediate application with Justin that resonated, right? And then really helped me build a business because pro cards are fucking money worthy, right? Dom is someone I'm personally working with right now, and everything he's taught me, I've used with my clients. And that's why all my clients seemingly look really fucking good, because it's not only the information he gives, right, but it's how I can apply it and how he teaches me how to apply it, right? And then I apply it to my clients in a personalized way. I mean, he's not going to...
Yeah, and especially like how to like improvise.
Right. Well, and that's, again, like you learn from these people that have been there, you know what I mean, that have done what you want. You're like, okay, cool. if you can do this, that means I can too. I just got to pay attention, you know? And that's kind of like the female side of things. It's like it kind of just happened, and I'm grateful for it because it really did force me to be a better coach overall. Like it forced me to learn more. It forced me to behave differently. You know, it forced me to prioritize certain things differently. You know, and it also it really taught me how to communicate with clients too. You know, it's just like. Not that men aren't, but women sometimes, especially if they're newer to the sport, have very unreasonable expectations. You know, it's just like, I want to be, you know, Miss Physique Olympia. It's like, but I don't want to sound like a guy. And I'm like, okay, so like, I'm not saying that's not possible, right? I'm not. But the chances are, if you look at the top 5 of the biggest shows every year, can we be realistic? You know what I mean? Is this something that you're okay with? Is this something that you can accept? Is this something that you have to now really take a back seat and think about and maybe readjust your goal here? Because what you're telling me and what you want, not saying they don't coexist somewhere, but generally in 99% of the population, sadly it doesn't, you know? And it's got me, it forced me because it's like, I can't lie to you because it's like, oh yeah, that's not a problem. And then it happens, I'm a liar, right? So how do I really get my point across, right? Without being either A, very inflammatory, or B, sound extraordinarily condescending, like I'm mansplaining everything, where it's just like, yeah, well, good luck with that. You know what I mean? Can't do that, you know? But yeah, I mean, I love coaching females, dude. They're badass as hell, dude. They're less problems with my female clients than some of my fucking male clients.
I think it's also because, like, women don't have an ego.
Yeah. Yeah. I think women really, my clients, I'll speak for my clients. They're just fucking, they're hardcore, bro. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, even my little bikini girls, like, they're just like, they're fucking out there. They're getting after it. You know what I mean? They're competitive, you know? And it's like a lot of them didn't start that way. Like, we had to teach them, right? Coach them, again, nurture them, and to say, hey, look, you got what it fucking takes. You just don't believe in it yet. So let's create a plan to show you, to yourself, that you can check all these boxes. And when we do that, it's so satisfying to see like a female client or a client in general, in this case female, to like literally have this much like self-confidence and this much self-doubt. And then those things just start to like reverse because like they start checking the boxes, they start feeling better, they start looking better, they start performing better. And then it's like when we do that, it's just like this cylindrical effect that just feeds into one another. And
momentum.
Yeah, dude. And before you know it, they're not only totally different physically, but like spiritually, mentally, and again emotionally, they're just like not even the same person. And they're just like, yeah, I want to fucking do this now. You know what I mean? So that's probably one of the coolest things for sure.
Yeah, my coach at the time was mentored by Dom Kuza.
Yeah.
I went from, so my cutoff for like middleweight was 176 and a quarter. That Sunday when I picked him up from the airport,
yeah,
I was 187.
Jesus.
187 point.
Boys gotta fucking sleep, man.
I was 187.6 or something.
Yeah.
So we went through the entire day, like no changes whatsoever.
Yeah.
We were just like food shopping, hanging out, doing all that. I went to sleep. I was 176 and a quarter.
Yeah.
11 pounds.
Isn't that crazy?
From stress.
Yeah. Dude, it goes to show, man, like, let me ask you, like, was it because he was there and you finally were like, okay, like, I can breathe,
yep.
Like, I got something? Yeah. When you have that kind of relationship with your coach, right? Like, there's nothing better. You know what I mean? Like even with Fred, right? And Fred was my first coach. Nick Bono is my current coach. I'll speak on Nick. Like, I went from just starting with Nick, and in 9 months went pro. You know what I mean? After and not that it was Fred. Like, Fred didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? My relationship with Nick, right, was just it was like a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see Nick all the time. Like, I was working for Fred. You know what I mean? So like, not lines got blurred at all, but it was the dynamic was so different, right? Nick's approach was very different, and because of that, not that I didn't trust Nick more than Fred. Once again, I fucking love Fred. Fred is the ultimate individual, right? But like, every time Nick talked, it was just like, okay, like,
kept you calm.
Yeah, I never, and not that I second guessed Fred, I never second guessed Nick, and it did wonders, bro. It really did, and that was the smoothest prep I ever had. You know what I mean? And like I said, went pro in 9 months under Nick's guidance, right? And I try to like relate, or excuse me, I try to copy that with all my other clients because like kind of like your experience, it's like, okay, like my guy is here. Anything bad that happens, he's got it. That means so much to an athlete to have that level of trust in their coach. It's irreplaceable. You know what I mean? And like I think that's, first off, that's fucking bonkers that you ever were that stressed out in the first place. You know what I mean? But like second off, it goes to show, man, just like how important it is, dude. You trust that guy. Obviously you did, because if you didn't, well, I'm not saying it would have been different, but like it definitely probably would have been different. So
Yeah, I'm not making this like comparison direct, but like in general, I feel like as human beings, we have a lot of trouble surrendering control.
oh my God. Yes. I hate that.
So,
I have to do it, but I don't like it all the time.
so when people are like going back with their faith in general, it's like, well, no shit, you're questioning everything. You're a human being.
Right.
Surrendering is not exactly what you do.
Right.
Especially surrendering control, because
Right.
the instinct is no control, chaos. If I don't have control, there's going to be chaos.
Right. Because you think you can control it.
But if you, like your shirt says, trust God's plan, like, you imagine coming up to me after like Powerhouse and all of that, and after I got out of the hospital, you know how cartoonishly like flabbergasted I would react if you told me like, it's like, hey dude, so you're gonna try to kill yourself, but then you're gonna have a podcast afterward.
Be like, yeah,
And then you're
I
gonna-
don't know about that.
And then you're gonna compete in 3 shows at the end of the year. Good luck.
Crazy.
And then you're gonna get Guy Sichnino's phone number. Huh?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Um,
It's cool to say that, man.
But also, like, surrendering control to God was, like, the best thing for me.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, he, like, gently backhanded me and said, you're not done.
Merciful. Yeah.
And gaining that faith and, like, security within myself, it allowed me to forgive Marissa by a lot.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And I remember,
yeah.
my nickname for her was Angel.
Right.
And I'll never talk negative on her,
Sure.
like saying, oh, she was a bitch, she was crazy. No, she was my angel because something told her I wouldn't reach my maximum potential if we were together.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I was held back because I wanted to make that work so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in order for me to spread,
And succeed.
succeed, whatever's in my tiny little brain.
Yeah.
My little man baby brain.
Yeah. Little man brain. It's working overtime.
I feel like she knew I wouldn't be able to do what I wanted to do if we were together.
Yeah. That's
So-
awesome, dude. Fuck yeah.
Even now, even on the podcast, like, I will call her my angel because if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have this.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have impacted from like a coaching perspective the people I have.
Yeah. I think it's funny you say that. So it's like my relationship with God, right, is actually something that's like so new to me. For so many years, dude. So many years. I don't want to like be like super like in your face about it, but like for the last like 3 decades, bro, I was a fucking grade A sinner, dude. And I stopped him at every door and every corner. You know what I mean? I wanted no parts, whether it was because I really resented him because I thought I was forgotten about or whatever. It wasn't until I met my current girlfriend, Sophia, that, started getting in, just going to church. Also, mind you, split household. My mother is Jewish. My dad is Roman Catholic. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, I get that. My mom's Muslim and my dad's Catholic.
yeah, boom, right? Fucking crazy, right? So I was always confused. But I would even say up recently, dude, like even in, I think December, right? Right around December, I had like some pretty crazy stuff happen to me. Like one of my really good friends, he was murdered, you know what I mean? And it was like, I found out in the airport on my way to Florida to go visit Sophia's family. And like Sophia took the flight before me, so I was just alone, and it was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how is it? It was just like, it was senseless. He just literally just died. for no fucking reason, right? Like I said, he got murdered. Where it's like, okay, that was like my first taste of like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, I need solace. I need some sort of not reason, right? But I need something. Like, there's been a void in my life that I've been kind of forgetting about. I've been covering up with, work, bodybuilding, drugs, whatever, doesn't matter, whatever phase I'm in. And, up until, like I said, right around December, my girlfriend started like really advocating for going to church, and it's been a blessing, dude. It's like, even you were talking about like, totally submitting, right? Like just surrendering. Right? I think it's in the book of, I don't know. I think it's in the book of Ephesians where it talks about like submitting or surrendering to your partner, right? But in order to do that, you first need to submit and surrender to God. And like, I think that's something that's so powerful because like when you surrender to God, you have the unlimited ultimate ability to love evenly, right? To love genuinely, to love transparently. And for a relationship to work, whether it's between you and your partner, you and your client, you and your friend, right? You need that ability, but you need that ability through loving God himself, And I feel like more like the last couple of months, I've really been trying to just like understand more, you know what I mean? And the further I lean into, like faith, the further I lean into like worship, the further I lean into a lot of this stuff, a lot of the things that were so confusing and like so scary, right, are becoming less confusing and less scary. You know what I mean? So, and I think, kind of what you're even saying, like for me specifically, faith has been like a huge part, unbeknownst to me even prior to this, in like everything that I've done, right? I think it was just always behind like closed doors, although I objectively like try to push it out. I think it's still permeated into my life, and it brought me to finally a point where I was at my low, like I said, in December with all that stuff, plus a few other things, where I was like, okay, fuck this. Like, you've been talking to me, like I've been hearing this. Let's hear it. You know what I mean? And it changed my life completely, so.
Yeah, from the most painful experience I've ever had in my entire life, physically, mentally, I could say like every time I almost like legitimately died, but no, the most painful experience was when she left, I physically ripped my cross off.
Like renounced totally.
Dude, well, she also gave it to me the day after the show.
Got nothing else. I didn't wanted to drink that down. That hurts.
with my show date on it.
Really?
Yeah. And I ripped it off, and it's like my biggest regret.
Yeah.
But just like with everything, faith has to evolve.
Yeah.
It's not a linear path. If you, going along with the theme of bodybuilding, if you pray for strength, God is going to give you opportunities to be strong.
Yeah.
If you pray for faith, God is going to give you opportunities for faithfulness.
Show faithfulness. Yeah. Yeah.
And, it's our mantra, you know what I mean? The mantra for Marine, the saying for Marines is Semper Fidelis.
Yeah. Semper Fi.
And that means always faithful.
Yeah.
And me getting baptized and everything I went through after, it's just a constant reminder, good or bad, that God's saying, like, you're not done.
Yeah.
And
it's good to know that you have someone that never leaves, right? It's such a crazy experience.
But also the most powerful thing was, if you don't forgive yourself for like regrets or whatever, like I know you made a reel saying like, I don't regret a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Doing coke was great, but being a pro is better.
Fuck yeah. You know what I mean?
But
hard yeses on both of them, by the way. Hard yeses.
But if you don't learn to forgive yourself and forgive others, how do you expect God to forgive you?
Yeah.
If you can't stop judging yourself, if you can't stop judging others, how do you expect God to judge you?
Yeah. Crazy.
Like all those things you like think about yourself, like, all right, how do you expect God to do the same thing then?
Yeah. If you can't do it yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's cool that you mentioned that, because I think like even me, speak for myself. It's like I throw around. It's like, well, if only God could judge me. You know what I mean? Back when whatever, And it's just like, I would say that because it was just like, I don't know, it was like a thing to say, right? But like the actual power behind all that is like, it's the truth, right? At the end of the day, it's like, you can have your opinion, you can have your opinion, and the world can have their opinion on me. And like, sure, that can be impactful. That can really maybe ruin a couple hours of my day. But at the end of the day, man, you know, it's just like, it's all so superficial, right? But as long as you have faith, right? As long as you have faith, you know, in God, you have faith in practice, right? And again, you know, you kind of disciple that faith, right, to anyone willing and interested to listen to what you're offering, right? As long as you're speaking within the word, right? As long as you're speaking and personalizing it to some degree, but like as long as you're speaking within the word, it is something where it's like, it's so empowering because truthfully, right, as you're saying, right, doesn't matter what the fuck life brings, you know what I mean? I got this, you know, and like to be able to say that and say that confidently, it's like, bring it on. You know what I mean? I was praying to God literally on my way up here. You know what I mean? I was like, please don't make me look like a fucking moron on this damn podcast. This is like, please, for the love of God. You know what I mean? Like, give me strength, man. You know, let the Holy Spirit like speak through me. Let me speak confidently and convicted, you know? And I think it's something where it's like, I'm a very anxious person, like very anxious. And when I pray, right, it humbles me, right? Because it's like, there's someone listening. He's listening, right? And I think that just gives me so much more like confidence knowing that like I'm not doing this whole thing, you know, alone, right? You know, also side note, the fact that, you know, me and my girlfriend are like both heavily invested in this too. And like we're sharing this journey of spirituality and religion and faith together. It's the highlight of my week, bro. You know, like she's busy as all hell. She's in massage school. She's working 2 jobs, right? She's in prep for her first pro show. She's never missed a Sunday with me. Never missed a Sunday. And I'm like looking at her like, man, I probably shouldn't say this in the same sentence. Like, fuck, that's sexy. You know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? Like it is, dude. It is.
Your faith is so hot.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, kind of. You know what I mean?
Here's what is attractive about that. Like, you know, let's be honest. Dating in like this day and age is a goddamn nightmare. But when you when you find that like literally what seems like 1 in a billion,
oh, bro,
who's like
speck of sand,
committed as you are to something,
what the fuck?
It's attractive.
Oh, dude. Well, you know, like I remember when she first started going to massage school and she was coming, we were hanging out after school and she was like, oh my God, like I learned all this cool stuff. And I'm like looking at her. She's like, what are you looking at? I was like, oh my God, like I love you. You know what I mean? Like you're so fucking cute. Like I just want to strangle you, you know, like cuteness aggression. Because like she's passionate. Like she's very passionate about massage therapy and she's so good at it. You know what I mean? Like I love that, you know, and I want to encourage it, but like I love how she loves that. You know what I mean? And like, yeah. You know, we have commonality, you know, like we have bodybuilding, right? We have very similar, not so similar upbringings to some degree, right? We have very similar fears, right? We have very similar a lot of this stuff. And I think the coolest thing of all is that while we started dating, we recognized a lot of like these flaws. And we made a decision to work on it together, you know what I mean? And like, you know, our journey of faith was like something that was kind of accidental. Like we went to a church to go visit a friend that we haven't seen in a while. And we both ended up being like, oh my God, literally, you know what I mean? Like I want to do this every Sunday. And then we have not, besides like we traveled from the Arnold Classic and we missed our Sunday sermon, but we watched it on the way home as we drove. You know what I mean? We couldn't physically be there. We didn't miss it, right? The following Sunday I was in Dallas, Texas, but I watched that sermon while I was in the airport. You know what I mean? And like, dude, we're both very committed to this because it's already given us back like so much, right? Not that our relationship was lacking, but like it's given us another like stronghold, right, to hold on to because like this is such a personal thing. You know what I mean? Like it's something that
it adds to the foundation.
It does, dude. It does. And it's like super fucking cool because, you know, I've never had that before. You know what I mean? Like I've always been in a position of authority, which, okay, you know, like given whatever. You know, like head of the household, right? Like, you know, the woman submits to the man, sure, whatever. But like in my life prior to this, like I've always had to be authority, right? I was always the one making the decisions, paying this, doing that, doing the third, right? And I was afraid to show vulnerability. I was afraid to show fear because as being the head of the household, you gotta fucking keep your cool, right? You gotta, like, it's all logic, right? And I used to say all the time, I'm just logic, right? Logically, this doesn't make any fucking sense, so shut your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? Right? Where with us, right, it's like I could still have that logical part of my brain, because like it's still something where it's just like look, I make decisions, you know what I mean? Like we do what I want to do. That's not it, but like we do what's best for us, right? And like logically this makes sense. And she's like, fuck yeah, let's do that, right? But I've never had someone I could just literally look at her and be like, I had the worst day of my life. And her just be like, talk to me. Just like that. Sit down and talk to me. And then feel totally comfortable and be like, this person said, you know what I mean? Like, get super unspiritual real quick. You know what I mean? But like, and she's just like looking at me and she's like, it's okay. You know, like, you're allowed to have bad days. And like, very consoling. You know what I mean? Whereas before, if I said that, you know, to any of my exes, I'd be like, pussy. You know what I mean? Get your shit together. We got shit to do. Don't you have to go buy me something? You know what I mean? And it was just like, oh yeah, you're right. Got to put my big boy pants on and like go be toxic.
All this crying won't buy me a BMW.
Literally, you know what I mean? And it's cool because it's like with us, it's not that way. You know what I mean? I was having a very vulnerable moment, you know, a couple weeks ago, and I came to her and she's the first person I call. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, like I need to talk to you. My life is like fucking mayhem. And she was like, oh my God, okay, cool, yeah, let's talk. And I'm like, okay, you're not gonna judge me though, right? And she's like, no, I love you. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's what every man is like craving nowadays. Yeah. And one of the last things I'll say to close out the episode is
we've been talking. Sorry.
is where faith is most tested is when a relationship ends.
Yeah.
Or even in death.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that faith will bring you more peace the more you sit with it.
Sure.
Because every if you take this to heart, every relationship that's ended, you know, not in death, but every relationship that's ended, God heard conversations you weren't meant to hear.
Sure. Yeah.
That's why. Like, I had a whole brand block me after my whole suicidal thing. Yeah. And I was like, you're a faith-based company, dude.
Liar.
But yeah, like if God is removing you from your life, there's a reason.
Right.
And
have faith in that reason. It's a good reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, trust me, people will stab you in the back. Ending relationships and death is a guarantee of life.
Yeah.
It's how you move forward with it.
Yeah.
You can either...
It's a lesson learned.
While you're busy asking God why, the why's right in front of you. Go get it.
Right.
You have to look for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's awesome. Yeah. You're right, dude. Through tragedy comes a lot of growth. Literally. All my biggest accomplishments in life all coincidentally piggybacked off the worst fucking periods of my life. You know? Why is that? I wonder why.
And now you get to be that spiritual guide for your clients.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a part. You know what I mean? I don't like to counsel my clients for sure. You know what I mean? When it comes to this kind of stuff, I try not to permeate both sides too much, just because, like, you know, depending on faith and belief and things like that. But what I do say is, you know, I try to a lot of my motivation and a lot of my speak, right, comes from a faith-based ideology, where it's just like understanding that you're in control, but also simultaneously out of control. And sometimes we do need to take a step back in order to really appreciate how good we had it while we were in the midst of it, you know, is something that's so powerful to some people, especially competitors, because they're just like, you know what I mean? And being able to counsel them properly, right? And just make sure it's like, hey, look, like, yeah, this sucks. This sucks. I'm not going to bullshit you. This sucks. But it's going to be okay. And they're just like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, fuck yeah. You know why? Because you're a bad motherfucker. And you're not going to let this shit slow you down, you know? So, but yeah, this is fun, dude.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been
thanks for having me. This was
very entertaining conversation.
Yeah, this is cool. I feel like we pinballed a lot of random stuff, but it was awesome. You know what I mean?
Pinballed, but hit everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, this is your time to promote yourself, promote your business. Instagram, name, everything.
Yeah. So I am Chris Phifer. I am an online business or online coaching, professional, I guess you could call it. I operate south of Philadelphia in Wilmington, Delaware. I coach clients all across the world, coach clients all across the United States. I specialize more so in the fucking love of the sport of bodybuilding, but I also take on a lot of high level lifestyle clients. So if you guys are interested, follow me on Instagram. It is IFBB. If you guys can see that tattoo, sure, right there. IFBB, period, PHIFER. Click the link in my bio, send in an application form, and let's get you set up with a free consult. And hopefully we can help each other out. So, hell yeah.
And this has been another episode of The Iron Axiom. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. God bless.
Take care. Later.